So at that time, I didn't have an agent. And I was in a musical in Jersey. As I did, I was doing all these different things. And I was in a musical called, they call it gravy, we call it sauce.
That's awesome.
Okay, or we call it sauce,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
call it
yeah,
gravy,
yeah,
one
yeah,
of them.
yeah.
So again, every time you do a project or things like that, you sort of tend to maybe gravitate to one, two, or more people, and you form friendships, and if you're lucky, you continue with those friendships, and that's what happened to me. So I met some really good people there, and a couple people in particular that we became friends. And he called me one day and said, "Hey, Nick," he said, "my agent just gave me an audition for a movie, which he said there was a big star that's going to be in it, and he couldn't confirm it, but he thinks it's Robert De Niro." And when I looked at it, I thought of you right away. He said, "You would be so much better than me at this." He goes, "Why don't you, I'll reach out to my agent and talk to him about you, and then to see if he'll send you the audition." Now, in the acting world, like, that never happens, because most actors, I don't care.
I know.
They may say, they're friends or whatever, but
Yeah.
man, they keep it to the vest. You know what I mean? And they do
Keep
not
it tight.
share things like that. But that's the type of person this guy was. So his agent reached out to me, and he said, "Listen, I don't represent you, but why don't you do an audition? And if I like your audition, and if you want, I'll represent you. And then I'll send your audition in, and then we'll see." So I auditioned. He liked it. He signed me. And he gave me a phone call, I don't know how many, couple weeks later, whatever, and he said I got the part in the new Robert De Niro movie. Excuse me, that's coming out.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. It's coming out to theaters, actually, March 21st, this March.
So check out March 21st. Title of the movie?
The movie's called The Alto Knights, Knights.
The Alto Knights.
The Alto
March
Knights.
21st?
March 21st, it's coming to theaters. And you can actually pull up the trailer. They just released the trailer, and I'm in the trailer, actually.
That's awesome.
But like half a second or a second,
But you're in there. It's
so
fine.
yeah, but I got me in there. And the movie is a true story based on two characters. It's two boyhood friends who grew up together, who ended up in the mob, Frank Costello and Vito Genovese. And the movie is based on the eyes of Frank Costello. So Frank Costello is sort of narrating it throughout the movie, and both characters are being played by Robert De Niro, which I don't think
Doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. So, and if you look in the trailer, you'll see Frank Costello and Vito Genovese having a conversation, but it's
That's
Robert
awesome.
De
You
Niro
both.
each.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So yeah, and I play Lilo Galante, Carmine Lilo Galante, who at the time was the consigliere of the Joe Bonanno crime family. That's my character.
That's awesome. Congrats, man. That's awesome. March 21st, the Alto Knights. Make sure to check it out. Now, Mr. Springsteen, tell us something about this, because Bruce is a legend. You know, he's one of the legends of the legends. Like there's no one like Springsteen. So tell us something about that.
So, as I mentioned, started a band mid-'80s, and then continuing forward with the Heartbreak Band and everything. And throughout all that time, I would always share to everyone I would talk to within the music industry that one day I'm going to be on stage with Bruce Springsteen and do one song in front of thousands of people. Like that was like
the dream.
The dream, the ultimate bucket list. I saw Bruce, the first time I saw him was 1980, December 8th, the night John Lennon died. I saw him at the Spectrum in Philly. But I started following him in 1975 as a freshman in high school. When I saw him at the Spectrum in 1980, truthfully, I envisioned myself being on stage with him at the Spectrum at that moment. Like, I just saw myself being with him. So that was 1980.
Premonition.
So, yeah. So in 2009, right before they tore down the Spectrum, it was second to the last show at the Spectrum. It was October 19th, 2009. I said to myself, man, I know that if I can get close enough and have my Elvis suit and have a sign, can the king sing with the boss? I just know that he'll invite me up on stage. So my wife and I, we were able to get tickets. We won a lottery to get front of the stage. Like, all the stars had to be lined up, right? And during the show, the whole band was joking with me. And then during the middle of the show, he's like, all right, he goes, we're going to try this. We're graced by the king himself. And he starts playing All Shook Up. And then in the middle of it, he goes, all right, king, come on up. And like the crowd went crazy, 20,000 people at the Spectrum. We're on the big screen TV, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, like this is it, you know, like my dream, you know, and I'm climbing up on stage, and Bruce puts his hand out to help me, and it's all on video, so you can see it. If you go to YouTube and type in All Shook Up Springsteen, you'll be able to pull it up, the whole thing, you know. And I remember saying to myself, there's little things that I specifically remember, and one of it was I can see his hand right in front of my face trying to help me up on stage, and I remember saying to myself, don't touch him, I'll do it myself. I don't know why I had that attitude, but I just, maybe it was respect, you know, not to touch him, whatever. So I got up on stage, and we were this close, and I just look at him, he looks at me, hands me the mic, I'm like, okay, and I started singing All Shook Up. And I'm singing, and the crowd's going crazy, and next thing I know, I don't know, it's my entertainment within me. As being a lead singer, I just took off and started singing and going down the stage and everything. And Bruce, it's a great shot on video. You see Bruce Springsteen, he looks at Steve Van Zandt, and he shrugs his shoulders like, okay, let him go. He's taking over, you know, yeah. So, and then at one point, I dropped to my knee as if like an Elvis move, but then I pulled a hamstring. So I kicked out my leg real quick, you know, when you pull a hamstring. And it looks like a great Elvis move, but I pulled a hamstring, you know. And then I get up, and then I just, because of that and just the crowd, like, I found myself, all of a sudden, I started to go off key. I was singing off key because everybody had probably ear monitors, and here I am